So I've never heard about men getting pregnant. I've never heard about this argument. It must be some part of what you call the far left that is so minuscule that I, who am...
No, Jane.
What?
It's not minuscule, and I'm sorry, you can't throw this back on us. I assume it's because you are locked into media that just never wants anyone in their audience to know anything sketchy about the blue team.
Bill Maher completely destroyed Jane Fonda's woke monologue on the most recent edition of Club Random, and it was magnificent chaos. Fonda entered the room anticipating another warm podcast in which everyone gave her every phrase a bobblehead nod. Rather, she went right into Maher's den, who enjoys hunting political rubbish. Sharp, composed, and prepared to destroy her writing. Let's get started.
About a garage door?
Absolutely.
I'm sorry. Yeah, that is...
No, you know this about California. Come
No,
on.
I don't.
Well,
I'm sorry, I don't.
You've never heard that California is overtaxed and overregulated? That we are a one-party state where there's sort of no checks on that sort of extreme leftism. And that, what do you think?
I don't for a minute consider California a state that is extreme leftist. Not at all, not any way.
Well, that shows where your politics are.
This has a lot to reveal. Given how long she has lived in the Hollywood bubble, Jane Fonda most likely believes that the air outside smells like a movie set. Her perception of what is genuine and what is just nice lighting has been distorted by years of flashing cameras, courteous clapping, and people that are demonstrating virtue. In her world, moral posturing is a TED lecture, and hashtags are rational. However, Maher isn't buying the script. He is entering with a truth-based needle. Are you prepared to drop that movie illusion and return Fonda crash landing to the real world, where stupid ideas have repercussions and expenses exist? Take out your popcorn. On impact, this one burns.
They became the birthers, they became the Tea Party. There's about a third of this country that's very hard right. Of course they love Trump. When he left office, he had an approval rating of 34%. So he really only had those people. Why is he now like tied? Because the other part of the coalition are people who, they don't really like him that much. They just think the far left has gone so nutty on so many issues.
That's what they're being told.
That's what they...
By people like you.
Because it's true. You think the far left does nothing crazy?
Oh, I'm sure they do.
As these two face up, you can really taste the tension in the air. Just before the verbal explosions start, there's that piercing electric silence. This is the worst part. Jane Fonda criticizes Maher in a single sentence for claiming that the far left is going crazy. In the following, she essentially concurs that they are. Irony cannot be scripted that well. The far left basically uses the double standard as a party trick. Deny everything, sidestep the issue, and then unintentionally affirm it in the middle of a sentence. It resembles a master lesson in inadvertent self-ownership. Mars recognizes it right away. When the audience realizes, Fonda is ready to see her own demise up close. In any case, let's go forward.
Who is the far left? What do you mean when you say far left?
I mean, I could give you a million examples.
Yeah, well, give me one.
Okay, the NAACP.
You think the NAACP is far
Could I
left?
finish my sentence?
Yes.
You asked me for an example.
Yeah.
Travel advisory, you know, that's like the State Department does to go to, I'm sure when you went to Vietnam, they were advising you not to.
I didn't talk to them. I don't have no.
I know, but you know a travel advisory.
Yeah.
Today we have them for very dangerous countries. You
Yeah.
know, don't go to North Korea, don't go to Iran.
Yeah.
You know where they issued a travel advisory for black people not to go?
Yeah.
Florida. But they just suggest something to the average person, which I completely understand, which is, wow, do you people ever find anything that's ridiculous?
Woke is more than a state of mind. It is a whole belief system that permeates politics, entertainment, society, and even language. It is an ideology that manipulates history to fit a reassuring narrative, attacks common sense, and turns science into activism. The facts are negotiable in our society. Feelings now occupy the place of truth, and logic is objectionable. And that's the true problem. Equality is no longer the issue here. It's about compassion masquerading as control. I just wish Maher had emphasized that point further. He didn't really pull the pin, but he did dance around it. Perhaps he is monitoring his liberal fan base. Still, it must be spoken aloud by someone. Evolution is not woke culture. It's the gradual breakdown of rationality.
You really think men can get pregnant? You know, that kind of stuff. And I understand that a trans woman can get pregnant. That's different than a man getting pregnant. And the way they sort of insist on blurring that line is if that's some sort of reasonable social cause, as opposed to just being for having full rights, respect, and protection for trans people.
Not at all. Transgender women are unable to conceive. Bigotry isn't that. That's biology. When Maher said that the trans movement should struggle for rights and dignity, rather than the ability to change the scientific fact, he was spot on. Asking for respect is one thing. Insisting that everyone put aside logic in order to defend an ideology is quite another. The movement loses support the instant it substitutes sentiments for facts, such as asserting that gender has no bearing whatsoever on sex, or that males are capable of giving birth. Extremism like that doesn't lead to progress. They are burned by it. Freedom, respect, and open communication, rather than speech policing and public humiliation, are the true paths to progress. Any genuine possibility of understanding is lost when discussion devolves into dogma.
Having full rights, respect, and protection for trans people. We get that.
So I've never heard about men getting pregnant. I've never heard about this argument. It must be some part of what you call the far left that is so minuscule that I, who am...
No, Jane.
What?
It's not minuscule, and I'm sorry, you can't throw this back on us. I assume it's because you are locked into media that just never wants anyone in their audience to know anything sketchy about the blue team.
I mean, I don't know. I read 2 papers, and maybe I don't. I should watch Fox News.
No,
I guess.
I don't watch. That's too far.
That was the decisive blow. Jane Fonda attempted to change course more quickly than a senator caught in the middle of a crisis. She alternates between supporting the extreme left and pretending she has never heard anybody assert that a guy may get pregnant. Jane, hurry up. For years, talk programs, college panels, and Twitter threads have all repeated that narrative. Simply wiping the ram is not an option due to its inconvenience. She hurried for cover after realizing she had surrounded herself and said that the awakened population only made up a small portion of the Democratic Party. Maher, however, would have none of it. He pointed out that this is no longer fringe discourse, and blew that excuse wide open with a single, forceful retort. On the contemporary left, it takes center stage. All of it suddenly came crashing down. The effort to gaslight reality itself via denial, evasion, and on-camera behavior.
I mean, I don't know. I read 2 papers, and maybe I don't. I should watch Fox News.
No,
I guess.
I don't watch. That's too far. But you don't have to. I'm not going to torture myself.
I'm for the team that understands that everybody should have the same opportunities, that everybody should be able to attain a middle-class life.
That's right.
That,
Yes, that's not what we're talking about.
Jane Fonda essentially waved the white flag at the end of it. She makes a joke about wishing she had watched more Fox News while cornered and visibly writhing. However, that phrase likely struck a deeper chord than she had meant. It wasn't amusing. She quietly acknowledged that she had been living in a reverberation chamber the whole time. Her Hollywood bubble kept her isolated from the unvarnished. Discussions taking place on social media, in the real world, and at kitchen tables throughout America for years. Reality was moving on without her, as she bobbed in a sea of adulation from like-minded elites. Maher just pulled open the curtain. She also saw for the first time how far away from the earth the bubble had floated. Truth doesn't always have to be shouted. All it has to do is break the illusion.
That certainly has been the history of this country, was police who were all too willing to shoot black people. So defund the police, though, was not a good idea. And you know who mostly didn't think it was a good idea was black people, because they want police in their neighborhoods, probably more than we need them in ours.
The problem with awakened culture is that it is driven by emotion rather than introspection. Even the loudest voices seldom stop to consider, then what? They just ride the subsequent moral wave until it breaks. They then paddle away in silence, acting as if they never yelled the phrase in the first place. Defund the cops, please. It served as a rallying cry for activists worldwide a few years ago. including many black activists. It was promoted as the pinnacle of justice. However, things quickly changed as reality set in. Crime increased. Those same neighborhoods were now begging for more safety, not less, as the streets became tougher. It serves as a sobering reminder of what occurs when anger takes the place of planning. While virtue signaling may seem right at the time, it often does harm to the same individuals it is meant to protect.
The Republicans tried to catch the Democrats with this, and they put this on, they brought it up in Congress.
Yeah.
And all the Democrats voted against it. The Democratic politicians were not for defunding the police. It's that radical fringe that has captured a lot of the media, academia, some of these cultural institutions that are not liberal anymore by old school liberalism. The ACLU is all about free speech. They don't really believe in it anymore. They believe, in one of their chief people who is trans said, I will die on this hill of banning this book.
That's right. With this one, Mars was spot on. The woke left has evolved into the Democratic Party's loudest and most assertive side, essentially taking over the conversation and establishing the guidelines. They choose the language, the tone, and even the concepts that may be discussed on stage. The so-called moderates, however, remain silent and afraid of being labeled racists or traitors, so they quietly sit in the back row. Those who do resist are subjected to threats, smear campaigns, cancel mobs, career sabotage, and steamrolling. It's an obvious message. Get crushed or toe the line. What was once a movement for free discourse and advancement has evolved into a test of allegiance to a shifting moral code. Mars issues a severe warning. The awakened fringe won't only humiliate the left if it doesn't seize the initiative and regain its equilibrium. It will push the movement as a whole to political oblivion.
Voters say U.S. can't repair severe divisions. And they went into the fact that 5 years ago, even during the pandemic and during the George Floyd protests, even then people thought, well, we are going to get through this. And now they seem to be on the page of, it's not going to happen.
Bill,
what do we do? But did you see the story?
Yeah, and I think what's new about this moment, one of my teachers and friends, Dov Seidman, likes to say this, we aren't divided, we are being divided.
That's right.
By companies for profit, okay? And we have our divisions, we always have them.
I have to disagree. Division wasn't a sudden development, it's intentional. Because instability puts them in charge. The far left thrives on anger and strife. They don't talk to one another. They uphold doctrine. You are portrayed as the adversary, canceled, ridiculed, or intimidated into silence the moment you disagree with their script, or decline to recite the catchphrase. This is neither development nor inclusion. It's sympathy masquerading as ideological policing. We have seen individuals lose relationships, jobs, and reputations for having a different point of view. Tolerance is not that. Control is wearing a halo like that. Unity will remain a useless catchphrase until the left rediscovers the art of authentic discourse and stops treating diversity like heresy. When one side is determined to set every board on fire, bridges cannot be built.
At some point, you, on your phone, you ordered a yoga mat or something. Your algorithm figured out you're a liberal. Then your neighbor looked up a truck. You're a conservative. And from that day forward, you got different information every day, and nobody sent a notice. And so now you literally think your neighbor is insane, because how could they possibly think this stuff? But if you put your phone next to their phone, you're in different algorithmic universes, and that is brand new and very dangerous.
On this one, for once, I agree with Van Jones. We urgently want a common digital space, a setting where different points of view are not suppressed, but rather engage in constructive conflict. Social media algorithms now behave like overly protective nannies, spoon-feeding us the viewpoints we already share and weeding out anything that could upset us. Education is not that. It's ignorance that you put on yourself. We must face the discomfort if we are sincere about bringing back meaningful dialogue in our nation. We must witness, listen to, and engage with arguments that contradict our beliefs. The right should really comprehend the left via open and sincere communication, not through sound bites or indignation videos. The left should genuinely listen to the right. We won't be able to quit seeing our own version of reality till then. Social media will continue to trap us in algorithmic echo chambers unless it prevents us from mistaking comfort for reality. And that's a risky delusion. After that, we'll conclude. Please click the like button, subscribe, and check back for more if you like this analysis. I appreciate you watching, and I hope to see you in the future one.